Welcome back to the second video on how to make your light box in Inventor, using Inventor. So this is where we last left off. At the side of our box, the dimensions will be identified as 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch, 2.25 or 2 1/4 inches. And then this long length here was extruded out to be 8 inches. Now, I'm going to share with you how we're going to go ahead and get to a shape that looks like that. Now, I've got other parts that are open, and you can see the preview. You just can't see how I'm going ahead and clicking on them. But I'll show you that in a little bit. So this one is what we just got done finishing. Keep in mind, our next part, the end of our light box, actually shares the dimension of this particular shape with two of the dimensions. Instead of being 8 inches long, however, it's only 3 inches long. So I'm going to go ahead and show you two different ways that we can do that. Number one, you can go up, start a new part. We again use two-dimensional sketch. We select our XY plane. Again, some of you will see your startup screen that ends up like this. All you got to do is go ahead and hit your front, or go ahead and rotate it around until you get your image where you get the crosshairs. A reminder, you always got your home button that will help you align that as well. We're going to go ahead and use the rectangle function. Again, 2-point center. It's not required to use it, however, it makes our job much easier later in this process. We're going to go ahead and slowly gravitate towards the origin, or 0, 0, and see that it goes to the green. Once you have the green, you can go ahead and click and open. And as you notice, the numbers actually increase and decrease in size as the shape increases and decreases. Now, many of you have asked, well, how big do I make this? It really truly depends how far zoomed in or zoomed out you are. But when we take a look at it, those numbers increase and decrease as we shrink or increase the size of our box. Now remember, the size of this particular piece of material is going to be 3/4 of an inch by 2.25, 2 1/4. So let's just shrink it down so we're even remotely close. It doesn't have to be perfect, that's close enough. If we take a look there, it's about 1 inch by approximately 3 inches. We can deal with that. Now go ahead and use your mouse scroller and just scroll in. Go up to your dimension and go ahead and blueberry that. As you look at your toolbar, the only item that's actually blueberried is your dimension. So at this point we can go ahead and select. And we're going to go ahead and identify a 0.75. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Up here, we're going to dimension that to 2.25. Now again, you can hit enter on your keyboard, or you can hit the green check mark. Either is fine. One item I hadn't shared with you previously, but I'm going to go ahead and share it now, is if you have a more complex shape, not just a simple rectangle, you might be more inclined to actually dimension based on two different lines. And you'll notice what I'm going to talk about here. Now see, I can go this way and it stays the same. But if I actually go down here and I click on a second line, this one right here, it then identifies how far apart those two separate lines are. Now we have this dimension in, so this becomes redundant. And the inventor is probably going to yell at us. Right here it is. Adding this dimension will over-constrain the sketch. What this is telling us is Inventor understands that this blue line and this blue line are parallel with each other, and that there's no difference in dimension from this side of the box or the rectangle to this side of the rectangle. So we're going to simply go ahead and hit cancel, because we don't need to see that extra one. Now again, this is more important when we have more complex shapes, and we may end up getting into that later. Alright, at this point we've got a simple basic shape. If we want to go ahead and see it in an isometric view, we can go ahead and hit the home button, and again it centers it up and it provides us on that 30-degree window. So I still prefer to go on a flat face and just see the height and the width of it. At this point, we're going to go ahead and go finish sketch. You certainly can back it out and make it a little bit more easy to see. And then we're going to go ahead and extrude. Now again, the reason I always like to hit the home button just before I extrude it is because I can see how much it extrudes. Alright, if you forget to do that, all you see is a two-dimensional shape, and then you got to twist and turn it. What you end up seeing is this. That's not very impactful, but if you actually see the depth of it show up, that is a lot more impactful. Again, you can grab that arrow, shove it, pull it, whatever you want to do, and you can actually find a dimension that way, or simply punch in the dimension you need. In this case, it's actually 3 inches. Really like to use that home button. It provides us that same shape. Now some of you are like, well, that seems way bigger. But if I zoom out, it's just about the same as what I've got right here. Part 4 and part 2 are identical. Now, that is the one way that you can go ahead and create that. But I'm going to share with you right now, from this part, how we can make it into the part we just got done making. And I would like you to try both ways and be able to understand both ways. So from this part right here, we're going to go ahead and save. We save it as, and then we go directly to our K drive. Make sure that you identify Würzburger, whatever trimester you are in, and then your appropriate class. Same thing is true here. We'd go ahead and make sure that we save this as well. Some of you may see it like this. You can actually access it this way as well. Your K drive shows up right there. Again, this is the technical reading and comprehension component, which makes it challenging for some. But again, all this information is the same, it just shows up a little bit differently. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and I will show you in the next video how we go from this part right here, that's 8 inches long, down to this part right here, that's 3 inches long, in a supplemental extension video. Thank you for listening.